This is Jim Bauer, president of Bauer Trading, and I'm going to discuss some of the significant bullet points from the crop report this morning, September 11th, from the Chicago Board of Trade floor. I thought perhaps as a little bit of a backdrop, we might say that the market is a little bit relieved in a certain sense, that the numbers weren't way off what the trade thought. So it basically serves a little bit for the bulls, a little bit for the bears, and it probably leaves the onus on the market to prove just where it wants to go. I still think there's an issue, a significant issue, with whether we can get by the frost-free date for those crops up in the northern tier of states, particularly North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and eastern Montana, maybe even as far south as northern Iowa, to make sure that they can remain frost-free, and that this has been such an unusual year from cool weather. Also, keep in mind there's a tier of soybeans in southern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio that were planted very late, much later than they normally would be planted, and they, too, are probably going to need to get to at least about the first week of October to remain frost-free. So these comments are all made under the assumption that the crops will not be damaged by a hard-killing frost sooner than the maturity dates of many of the fields. So that is still a major question mark out there. On the numbers themselves, I thought probably the friendliest number, just on the surface anyway, was in the corn market, where they projected the 09-010 ending stocks of corn at 1.635 billion bushels. That's actually below the trade estimate of 1.768 billion bushels from a United States standpoint. That's, in my eyes, a little friendly. And then, interestingly enough, from a 09-010 projected global stocks from a global standpoint, that they had the estimate in August at 141.5 million metric tons, but it came in at 139.12. And I think that essentially reflects the fact that we're probably going to see reduced corn acreage in Brazil by as much as maybe 2 million metric tons there. And there is an issue, kind of an outlier, because we're seeing the Chinese corn crop also being reduced. They reduced it down to 160 million versus 162.5 million in the August report. So there is some concern about what has developed in China over the last several weeks. So at least the corn market was from the bull standpoint, they breathed a little sigh of relief, because there were estimates as high as 168 bushels per acre on the soybean or on the corn yield. Looking at the soybean numbers, kind of neutral in my opinion, with the 09-010 projected ending stocks at 220 million bushels. August estimate was at 210, but the trader's actually looking for 226. From a yield standpoint on soybeans, and again, as I alluded to earlier in the interview, we really don't know for sure the soybean yield. I've traded beans many years, and you really need to see the digital readout off the combine. But as of today, September 11th, the government has estimated the yield on the soybean crop at 42.3 BPA, and the estimate from the trade actually was 42.4, and that's versus the August estimate of 41.7. The projected ending global ending stocks 09-010 on wheat, or on soybeans, 09-010 projected ending stocks on soybeans at 50.53 million metric tons, just a little bit above the August estimate at 50.32 million metric tons. But my sources in Brazil, they are still highlighting the fact that they think between Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, we should still see somewhere between a 23 to 27 million metric ton increase in South American production from what it was last year. But keep in mind now, Argentina had a disastrous crop last year, and hopefully that drought situation will be relieved during the growing season this forthcoming year. On the wheat, as we know, there's been good yields throughout the world on wheat. The 09-010 projected ending stocks of wheat here in the United States was left essentially unchanged at 743, but that's going to be updated on the September 30th report. And as we know, there's been good yields coming off the northern and high plains, particularly in white wheat, hard red winter, hard red spring, and durum. So we expect to see the projected ending stocks in U.S. wheat rise up towards maybe as high as 850 million if these yields keep coming in as good as they have been. From a global standpoint, of course, wheat is the most global. The 09-010 projected global ending stocks at 186.6 million metric tons. is, in my opinion, a relatively negative number because the August number came in at 183.6 million metric tons and continues to show that most of the world has had pretty good wheat yields all year.